we're good.
Hey, middle-aged gamers, welcome back. It has been a very long, or maybe short 2 weeks, depending where you are in the gaming universe. I've got lots of stories to talk about. Hope you have checked out Adam's Stellar Blade video. We've loved the feedback. I know you guys love the shorts. Definitely check out the long video. As always, let's jump straight into it. If there are any stories we haven't talked about today, please comment down below and we'll try to cover them or talk about them next time. Adam, what's happened that you want to talk about in the last 2 weeks?
So there's been a fair bit, but the biggest one, at least in my opinion, is the death of Life by You. So I was looking really forward to this. Korean was looking really forward to this. And I think for a lot of people, this came kind of as a bit of a shock. So what happened was they came out on, it was Paradox Interactive came out on their forums and on the website, and they posted something basically saying that they're just going to completely drop the game. And the reason for is, what they said is that the version that we would be satisfied with is too far away. And so basically, if you've been keeping up with the game, you know that they've had multiple delays. It was originally set to launch in September 2023, and then later on they delayed it to March this year, and then it was moved to June this year, and then it was again moved to May this year. So May 20th was the final date that we had received, and I guess this happened last week. So we only have that's only 5 weeks away from launch, supposedly, assuming we weren't going to re-delay it. But they just said, nope, you know what? We keep delaying it, and the way it looks to us is if we just continue, we would just be continuously delaying it and kicking the can down the road, and it's just so far away that there's no possible way that we would ever get there in a reasonable amount of time. So we're just going to cut our losses, and that's it. They did mention that the second quarter of 2024 will be impacted negatively due to the development cost of this game. That's one thing that's a big concern for me, is thinking, when you, and they even said, let's see if I can find the quote here. Can't find it right now, but basically they were saying that, when we make a game, the intention is to sell the game. That means we've earned the money that we've spent developing it. And, then that's something that they said. Now, if you don't make the game, then that means all that money you spent is just gone. It is, and so I'm kind of worried that we might be seeing some layoffs in the future, just because this was a cost and there was no payout to it. Who knows? I mean, maybe, hopefully they've have enough in the, stored up in the bank that they can just say, hey, you know what, we're going to take the hit, but keep on rolling. But yeah, I'd be really worried for a lot of these people here. I've been following their YouTube channel, watching all the videos that they've been putting out with like, oh, we're adding this feature and we're adding that feature, which is actually one thing that they did say. They said, for each delay we've made, we've seen incremental improvements, which in hindsight may have led us to focus on details rather than the whole picture. So they were saying, they did have their Discord up and they were getting input from people and that sort of thing. And, when somebody came up with a good idea, they're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, let's do that. Or, oh, maybe we should tweak, maybe the animation for walking isn't that great. Maybe we should, and so they were saying, maybe we should have just said, hey, let's just make sure the game works first and then go on these details, rather than saying, oh, hey, let's fix these details now. And then, so they do say there might have been some mismanagement in how they used their time, not in the sense that, a corruption kind of thing or something like that, but just kind of like, maybe we could have done it better. Maybe we could have, maybe we got swept up in the excitement and we weren't focusing on, what we should have. And instead of focusing on what looked interesting. So yeah, so unfortunately the game is not going to be coming at all, not anytime soon or ever. So it is gone. We were talking a little bit before the show about how, is it possible that they could, come back and have another team working on it later? Or, I've seen people online saying, well, maybe they could release the source code and modders could come in and fix it themselves, that sort of thing. But yeah, I personally think that it's just going to be one of those things where it's like, okay, we're just cutting our losses, from a certain perspective. They're like, hey, this is a sunk cost fallacy. The more we put into this, it's not going anywhere. If we try to, if trying to hold on to it ultimately isn't going to work, so we're better off just saying that's it. So I do not expect it to be coming out anytime soon. There are still other games in the genre to look forward to, though. Enzoi still seems to be, going strong. Like, they had their thing not too long ago, and they seemed pretty excited about it. Project Renee, which is the EA, Sims 5 thing that's going on. Is it Sims 5 or is it some sort of kind of spin-off kind of thing? We're not quite sure yet. There's also Paralives, and apparently Midsummer Studios has announced that they're making something, but the game is yet untitled. And similar to Paradox, where Paradox was it Ron Humble? Is that the name? He was working on Sims 3, and I think he did some other Sim stuff. The Midsummer's game studio has a lot of former Maxis people. It does have some former Firaxis people who worked on XCOM as well. But it does have some of the talent from some of the older games. So who knows? Maybe they're going to be in a similar boat, or maybe they'll do better. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, what do you think? Are you disappointed by this? Do you think there's any hope in the future that they might come around and say, you know what, maybe we can give this a second shot? Or do you think it's like it's just dead in the water? What do you guys think? So, I mean, what do you two think?
If you don't mind, I go first. We said it before. Paradox, making a game like this is way out of their comfort zone, right? If you recall, Paradox, it's Stellaris, Heart of Iron, Victoria, it's Europa Universalis, this massive 4X big strategy game. This game was completely out of their zone of comfort, which it would have been great if it came out, right? There was a lot of good ideas and things like this, but I think they are just recentering themselves on what they know how to do. There has been a big DLC on Stellaris not too long ago. They announced that they are working on Millennia. Millennia being a new historical 4X strategy game, which is exactly what they're doing with all the rest. So they are just recentering on their core. Hopefully the whole team is going to be put back on this project, because Paradox, I think, has a lot of very, very, very strong IPs. All of the names that I told you about, they have lots of DLCs. Imagine Civilization having a lot of DLCs. Each one of the Paradox games run in the very long run. So they have cash. I'm not worried about this. Hopefully this team can be just, put into the other new project they have. And it was a good try by them. And they decided, we strike way out of our zone. Let's go back to do what we know how to do. That's my take on this one.
Yeah, I'll add on to what Antoine said. As of March 2024, so Q1, they had 126,860,000 Swedish kroner in net income. So that's a fair bit of money, right? It's a few 20, 30, $40 million roughly in US dollars. So they are making money, right? And that income is up 2.5% year over year from last year. So it's good, right? And maybe what a lot of companies are doing is they are risk averse. They're like exactly what Adam said. Is like, yeah, this is probably not going to earn us money, or it's not going to earn us enough sales. It's going to damage our reputation. Let's stop it now. Let's take the tax break that this comes from game development. And just like what Warner Brothers did with Batwoman, which is what we were talking about before the show, it's like, yep, let's take the $30 million and use that to cut off our tax bill, right? And maybe that's what they're going to do with Life by You, which is unfortunate, because we need more different studios making this sort of genre, because we don't want it to be controlled by EA and have, 74 expansions of the same game for the last 10 years. So hopefully someone else comes into it. I really believe that. I would even say I would expect to see a Kickstarter for this genre of game before the end of this year. Maybe not by the Life by You crowd, but by somebody saying, we can do this if we put pull all our assets together and come out with the game, definitely on a smaller scale, but maybe doing some unique things that you couldn't get from a big studio game. So hopefully that happens.
Yeah, I hope so, because it did look good.
Yeah. It did, yes. Antoine, tell us about Valorant.
All right. I'm not talking. Okay, let's restart this one. So I'm gonna talk about hardware, and to make you understand how important it is, I'm gonna take Valorant as my subject, because Valorant is a very popular esport game, and at this level of competition, as you all know, you need absolutely every advantage that you can get, both from the game and from your hardware. And Valorant has some very advanced audio technologies which help you understand, in your special environment, you can hear people walking, if they are behind you, in front of you, you get shot, more or less where it's coming from. So, you need this spatial audio environment to play the best, right? And Valorant also have or supports something called HRTF, which is head-related transfer function, which personalizes the spatial audio experience for a more natural and immersive in-game soundscape. So, sounds very technical and all, but as I said, basically, it's everything that the game is trying to do to make you have the best experience in-game and give you the most precise location of everything around you, right? And it's extremely important. And that's great, except if you don't have the hardware to go with it. Because if you have a very cheap Total Beach headset, you can have, the game can have all the audio improvement you want. It's not going to make a difference because you won't be able to hear it. So here I'm taking Valorant as a subject. I could have taken, I'm sure other games are doing it as well, especially in the world of esports. But here, yes, I want to talk about this because GameRant released, and we'll give you the link, of course, released a link of headset which supports all of these assets, all of these advantages, I would say. And it's not necessarily extremely expensive. You don't need the $500 headset to enjoy the same level of preciseness, right, as someone else. So you're not necessarily disadvantaged on it. And I was very happy to see in the list that GameRant did, not too long ago, last week, that they're talking about headsets that we talked about years ago, in fact, when we were still making podcasts. So let me take a few, for instance. So they're talking about the HyperX Cloud 3. This is not the Cloud 3, but it's very similar. It's an HyperX. They're talking about the Razer Black Shark V2. Who does have a Black Shark among us? I believe it's Ukraine. Do you have it, or you used to have it?
I used to have it, and then I don't remember what I did with it. I remember the little headphone mic. I think I cut it off, or I broke it off. One of the things, yes.
So there's also the more expensive Logitech G Pro X2 Lightspeed, to be exhaustive on the name. So there's a list of a few headsets starting by the HyperX is only $80 Canadian on Amazon, right? So really we are going from the $80 HyperX to the $250 Logitech. There's a bit for every budget, right? But if you stick to the list that they provided, you know that you are a Valorant esport material as long as you can play the game far better than I could. Which I hope that you do. And so that's it. We'll provide you, of course, with a link to each of these headsets, which you can buy on Amazon with our link, which would really help us and our show. So if you like our show, you can look at the list of GameRant and buy these on Amazon with our link. Thank you very much. And if you are interested in more of such content, you must find some of our videos either here or here. I never know where. So please click, like, share, subscribe, do, all of it. You are used to it by now. And thank you very much. 3 minutes? 3 minutes? Did I do 3 minutes? No, I didn't do 3 minutes.
That's close.
It was good. It was good. I mean, let me ask you guys, like, given our current setup, what would you like in an ideal headset? Like, if money was no object and you were upgrading this year, what would you like to upgrade to?
It's a little 7.1 stuff. The audio surround. I didn't knew I needed this before I added this. So I don't need a very expensive headset. Again, this one is Black Friday $90, I think, and the full price maybe 120. So, of course, you can wait for Black Friday to get cheaper stuff. You don't need more than that. What you really need is reliability. This one is 2, 3, 4 years old. It's working perfectly. You need to have a soft pad, which doesn't make you... I'm not in Taiwan, so I don't have the problem of being super sweaty, everything, but I hate the leather, which flakes everywhere. See, leather, that's flakes, that it's not fun. So, with this headset, I got 2 sets of pads with different texture. And this one is perfect. Of course, you don't want something too heavy because you could have some neck pain. So this one, HyperX. I'm not sponsored by HyperX, but I love my HyperX. So please sponsor me. What can I say? I didn't try anything else. But yeah, you don't want something too heavy. I saw some feature which could be good is say that I want to put my headset like this. I get bit strangled, not that much, but I saw some headset which can turn this like inward, so it feels, well, you don't feel strangled, even though it's very hard to get strangled with this. But can you do that, Adam?
Mine can turn outward, so I can do this.
Well, but yes. So see,
inward
that's
so much.
So that's one of the features, honestly, which I really don't care. So yeah, and after the audio quality, which for a headset would be very interesting, but it's the same as the pixels on TV, right? At some point, the audio quality is so good that going even higher, does it really make a difference? Like, the 7.1, having the audio coming from different part of the headset to make you feel really at this spatial location, you know where you are. You could close your eyes and you know where the guys are in a shooting game. That's a must. That's really a must. And I could never go back to the crappy headset I used to have before, and I never knew I needed that. So yeah, that's what I need.
Adam, what about you?
Yeah, no, 3D audio makes a difference, and that's mostly on a software side. But you still want good, headset because obviously with 3D audio, it's kind of offsetting the different tones, so it'll kind of offset the higher tones with the lower tones. And if you don't have a good headset, it has like it can't hit those tones as well, then obviously that would be off. But yeah, as far as like what I look for in a headset, I'm actually pretty happy with these. I do kind of miss my old ones. It's the same brand. This is the upgraded version of it. But the old ones, I felt like the mic was way better on the older version than in the newer version. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just I'm not an audiophile. I don't know. I guess my ears just aren't that sensitive, so I can get by with a decent pair, I suppose. But no, I do agree that.
Yours?
Huh? What kind of mine? Mine are Cooler Master. I don't remember exactly.
Another headphone brand made in Taiwan, just like Kingston.
Yeah. Mine are. Oh, here they are. Mine are the Cooler Master MH751. I think the old ones were like the MH. I don't remember what my older ones were. Maybe it's just like the 750 or something like that. 320. I preferred the 320, if I'm being honest, because the audio quality I feel is pretty equal But the mic on that one was way better. This one is different, and then also too, this one's different. This one has the little dongle thing, so I can do surround sound with this one. I couldn't do surround sound so much with the other one. That wasn't so big an issue though. To me, surround sound mostly just sounds louder, maybe a little bit deeper. But the other thing too is like this one has the audio and the mute. The mute button is here. It's got audio buttons here. It's got the mic thing here. They're all on here, but actually it connects on top, not on bottom. So if I disconnect and pull them out, like for instance, if I was using these on my phone or whatever, there's no control. I would have to control everything from my phone. The old ones had them all right here, so I could just come up here and just click a button here and mute, or I could scroll right here. So all the controls were on the headphones themselves. I could see where some other people might find that annoying, and they might want like a dongle that they can play with. But for me, you know, because you can actually see what you're doing. But for me, once you get used to it, I actually preferred them on the headset itself. You know, because if I wanted to mute, I could just mute here and just press the button and mute. Whereas now, if I'm playing, like say on my PlayStation, and I want to mute, I have to mute from the PlayStation itself. I can't just mute on the headset itself. So that's me, but yeah.
All right. In the interest of time, because I want to get sure we have all the 5 videos for next week, or 4 or 5, I can't remember how many. I'm moving on to my story, which is Dark and Darker, and this is a game you might be very familiar with. They did like a few player tests on Steam, where they were on Steam and you could play it, and then they got off Steam, and then went back on Steam, and now they're permanently on Steam as of June 12th of this month, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, June 8th. So earlier this month, they're now permanently back on Steam forever. Now is the full early access release where everybody can play it. It is free to play, and you're probably wondering, Korean, what is this game about? This game is, if you're a middle-aged gamer, like hopefully most of you are, you go back to the early days of Betrayal at Krondor in the early 90s, or oh god, there's a game I'm thinking of that was one of those old, very dungeon crawlers, like sort of like the very first Wolfenstein, where you're going through these corridors in a first-person perspective, and all the background looks entirely the same. But in those days, we're like, oh my god, this game is so fun, even though the background is just the same walls over and over and over for 10, 15 hours or so. This is just that, but it's a first-person multiplayer game where 3 people are going to be like a rogue, a barbarian, or a wizard, and you're going through and you're fighting stuff and you're extracting. So it's like a fantasy extraction, melee fantasy game. I haven't figured out the word exactly, but this is a game I'm actually looking forward to giving a try, primarily because this is a PvP-VE game, and the PvP is optional, right? So that's what I like. Like, if this was just a PvP game, oh, God, no, I would not mention it because I don't like those forced competitive games. But it's like the 3 of us could play, and it is 3-player multiplayer. And you're fighting through a dungeon, you're getting loot, and you're going to the extraction. And then at the extraction, we have the choice of saying, okay, I don't like Adam and Antoine anymore. Podcast canceled. Kill them, steal their money, exit the game, and wait for the shouts later, right? So that is the PvP element, right? It's sort of like that game, Munchkin, if I'm not mistaken, Adam.
The card game that Phil hates, but I love.
Yes. Because Munchkin, you have to escape with loot, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I mean, the goal is to reach level 10, but yeah, you fight a monster and you can get some loot, and the loot helps you, increases your power so that you can fight bigger monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, so literally just this is what this game is. There's multiple dungeons, multiple difficulty levels. And like I said, it is free to play. But if you do play the free to play version, you only have access to 1 hero and 1 level, and you can still repeat it, and there'll be different monsters and stuff. If you do want to upgrade to the full version, it's $30 US. Some of the comments have been that the regional equivalents are not $30 US, especially if you don't live in the developed world like we do. So that's something to take into account. But yeah, 27,581 reviews. Looks fun. Looks very like I mean, yeah, it's a game where you get to kill monsters and fight people and skeletons and get to do it with your friends. And it's not. I'm thinking back to the Division 1 or the Division 2 Dark Zone, where it was like you're committing an hour to do this, right? This is 20 to 30 minutes, so you can still grab a session with some friends, then be done if you're a busy person. If you have checked this out, let us know and comment down below. And if you like videos like this, don't forget to check out the video over here.
I have a question. So if you play the free version, you only get access to one class and one level. Can a free version player play with somebody who's bought the game and then play on a different level if the person who bought the game is the host?
That is a good question. In the description on Steam, they did not mention this. So I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. I mean, that would be cool. But I know games sort of like enable that sort of mixing and matching system if there's a lack of players. One of the reasons I chose this was like number 5 on Steam in terms of most multiplayer, most played games at the moment. Of course, we talked about this before the show. Elden Ring is number 1 everywhere. But yeah, so I think at the moment they don't need to do this system. So it's just they're going to keep the free play people just exclusively playing together, and the people who paid the $30. The option to I paid the $30 to play with everyone else who has paid $30. A good question.
Yeah, I know a lot of games do that, like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. If I have the free version, if I have the paid version and you have the free version, I can host a game and you can join me, but you can't play those on your own. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I know games that do that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Adam, enlighten us with story number 2.
So for story number 2, I'm going to be talking about Stellar Blade again. They had a press conference recently, and some people have pointed out that there's a photo that they showed that has the roadmap, and people have pointed out in the top right corner it does say strictly confidential. So it does look like somebody leaked this online. I don't know if they were supposed to or not, but it's there and there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to be there forever. But they did talk about some of the things that we can look forward to. So basically the press conference was on June 25th, so just a day ago, or I guess, a day ago, or a day today, if it's for some of you. But then it did mention things on the roadmap. They showed Nikke and they showed Stellar Blade, so they have the roadmap for both. But we're going to be talking about Stellar Blade today. On Stellar Blade, it showed that the boss challenge mode was released in May 2024. It says that there's a new photo mode that is under review, new character skin under review, IP collaboration under review, and DLC and sequel release under review. So they do say that they have all these things, but the way they did it is they have a timeline that's kind of spread out. And so we can get kind of an idea of when these things were expected to happen, because the Nikke stuff is on the same timeline, and so you can see where these things are placed on this timeline in relation to each other. So for example, the new photo mode, it says Nikke has a summer event in July 2024, and the new photo mode is set before that on the timeline for Stellar Blade. So we should be getting that in July or earlier. However, I believe it was, who is it? Twisted Voxel. Twisted Voxel was saying this is the entire site that this comes from is in Korean. So obviously I had to run it through Google Translate. So, don't trust necessarily everything that I was able to see. But Twisted Voxel said that actually this is set for August. So this should be releasing in August, not July. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Then it says the new skins, based on the picture, the new character skins were set after the New Year event for Nikke, which is set for December. So the new skin might come sometime in December, possibly later. Again, I believe, so it looks like it says December or maybe later. Twisted Voxel again said it was October or later. So, maybe that might be coming earlier than what it said there. I'm saying what I saw in the picture, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe they heard in an interview, they said something different. So maybe that's why they have different times. I'm not quite sure. The end of year collaboration was kind of consistent, though. That should be the end of 2024. Or early 2025. I'm not sure what the collaboration is, but they did say somewhere, it said, this is a quote, and again, it's translated. Stellar Blade and Nikke are reviewing various opportunities to create positive synergy with each other, and I think we will be able to show you good results soon. So I do think we're going to get a Nikke collaboration at some point. I don't know if that's the one that's on the roadmap or if that is referencing a different collaboration. I'm not sure. But we will see. We are likely to see a Nikke collaboration at some point. And then the final one, the DLC sequel and release, is set after the 2.5 anniversary of Nikke, so after April. But there's no telling how, that's at the end of the timeline, and things don't seem to be spaced out in any kind of reasonable manner. So distance between different events, it's hard to gauge. So who knows when that's going to be? But it does seem that they're working on. It does say DLC and sequel, so it looks like we might be able to be looking forward to both. So that's exciting. And then also at the press conference, they announced that Stellar Blade has now surpassed 1 million sales. So they're pretty happy with that. They've also said that they are looking into the PC release. They said they did have some exclusivity deals, but those will be up soon, so they are looking to a PC release. And then also the director, I can't remember his name off the top of his head, but he did say that the goal of the game was, this is the quote, rather than maximizing profits, the goal was to create a high-value IP to ensure branding in the process of gathering users from around the world and forming a fandom. In this process, for the sake of brand value, we minimized aspects that users might find objectionable, such as small payments, and we plan to reflect this in a way users can understand. So it does seem that what they were doing here with the whole, we're not going to do microtransactions, we're going to try to avoid censorship, that sort of thing. It does seem that what he was saying there is, yeah, we're not trying to make a huge profit off this game. The goal of this game is not to make a huge profit. The goal of this game is to create a huge fandom. And then hopefully that will be able to see, instead of trying to make as much money off of the people that buy the game, we're trying to get as many people as we can to buy the game. So different approach, very humble in some ways, very humbling in compared to some other developers and the way they try to, nickel and dime everything. So yeah, they made me a fan. I'm really into this. I'm really looking forward to these new skins. I might have to play through the game a fourth time when the skins do drop. We'll have to wait and see. It is actually a very short game, so it's not a huge. I could probably clear it in a week or so. So and then plus, I'm already leveled up and everything, so all that's easy. So yeah, looking forward to what they have in store for the future. On to you.
Fantastic. On that timely note, Antoine, let's move on to you.
All right. So, little disclaimer before I start. The next topic is going to be kind of a debate between us, and it can be very offensive to some of you. So if you have young children in front of the screen, please keep them and say thanks for watching Middle-aged Gaming and participate to this debate in the comments, because we're going to go talk about Starfield. Which, if you have been following Middle-aged Gaming, I know Korean likes Starfield. I do not like Starfield yet, but this is a kind of game, some game like say Palworld or Helldiver, right, will hit it hard straight for 3-4 months and then will slowly say goodbye and disappear until the next good game is up. Starfield, being a Bethesda game, is here for the long run, and it's going to be very disappointing at first, and then some DLC will come to help and mods will come to help, and in the long run it's going to be a decent game. Which to me it is not. But in the good news, I have to say about Starfield, as you may know, I think it was in the Summer Fest, they released the Fall 2024 DLC, which is called Shattered Space. And it will introduce us to the third big power of the galaxy, which is House Va'ruun, which is a cult, basically cult venerating the big serpent, and we have seen them very little, or at least I haven't played the full game, but for the little I played, I've seen them once in an embassy where the ambience was kind of horror, mysticism, and that's going to be exactly what this DLC is going to be about. And it was everything Starfield is. Like, the intention was great, the realization was poor. And that's exactly what Starfield is at the moment. But that's just the first thing I wanted to talk about, just, to start on a good note about Starfield. Now let's go to the heart of what I wanted to talk about. 2 weeks ago, Bethesda gave or released a creative kit for free. You can find it on Steam. You can find it anywhere. It's great, that brand. And what does it do if you don't know what's a creative kit? It allows modders to play with a game and create mods, which makes the success of Skyrim, which you've seen in Fallout. And same as Fallout, actually, you get this creative hub where Bethesda sponsored or backed, more like Bethesda backed mods will appear in the creative hub or something. I think it's called like this, or creative club maybe. And what that means is that when you go onto your game, you can go onto the creative club, and through microtransactions, you can buy mods. To give you an idea, 1,000 credits is about Canadian $12. So I don't know what you can buy for 1,000 credits because I haven't been in the game, but just to give you an idea. And so that's problematic if you're on console. Just to remind you that I'm on PC, which means that I have Nexus mods to download my nodes for free. But I guess that all the backed mods which are present on the Creative Club are exclusive to Bethesda, and I guess you won't be able to find them on Nexus mod. At least that's what I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But if you're on console, you don't have a Nexus mod, so unfortunately you have to pay for mods. So first of all, I find this idea of paying for mods like this extremely bad, because first of all, they gave us an incomplete game, then you have to pay for a DLC, and all of this is still not a full game. So you have to pay for mods. Mods not even made by Bethesda, made by sales and well-known modders, which are going to get a cut of the credit you are spending. They're not going to get a full amount, right? Bethesda was done nothing except releasing a creative kit. He's taking a cut, I don't know how much of the cut it is, but he's taking a cut out of someone else's job, work. I find this idea of doing business absolutely repulsive. So see, I didn't really like the game of Starfield simply because of the mechanics, right? I just find it a bit old and dated and things. The story itself looked great, and I was planning to go back to it at some point. Maybe I will, thanks to the fact that Nexus mod, free mod and everything. But I found the way that Bethesda is financing their game, it's not an indie studio with lack of funds, right? It's Bethesda. They have money. They have lots of money. They belong to Microsoft, who have lots of money. To me, it's just not a good way to do business. I find it repulsive. I'll be straight with you. It's repulsive, right? And it makes me want to simply ban Bethesda from my future purchase, as I just can't see that. I can't put my weight behind such a way to do business. For me, it's a massive no. I prefer far more to have a content creator put a mod, put his Patreon link. You click on it, you give money. I understand that 90%, if I'm being nice, of people downloading the mod are not going to go in there to give money to the modders. That's a risk to take. I'm sure that it's far more profitable. Far more profitable for a content creator to go through this creative club. I'm sure they're making more money out of it. Still, I find it disrespectful for your work, for the video game business in general. and I'm tired, so I'm not even angry. So you see me at my nicest right now. But that's why I was saying that this debate is a debate, right? So I'm close on my position, but you can talk me into it. Please try to tell me why this creative club is a good idea. It's a grand idea, and that they should have been doing this from the start, which I believe it already exists, right, in Fallout series, right? So it's not something new. I never played Fallout, so I never been exposed to this yet. But so yeah, that's my take on this practice. What do you guys think? You guys, Crane and Adam, but of course you as well in the comments because you are watching the video. And if you like more of such content, more videos over there, of course, right? But please now, the floor is yours. Tell me everything you know about that.
Go ahead, Adam.
No, yeah. At first, I was kind of like, I mean, I'm 100% with Antoine. I think it's kind of shady to be like, okay, you guys can release mods and we'll put them on our platform and we're going to take a cut. If it was purely just, you could, if it was purely just, we have this platform, put your mods on the platform, set a price. If you want, you'll get full, you'll get all that money. I don't think people would be complaining about it if it was just kind of like if they were just creating basically a platform for mods and they were like, the modders, if you want to put a price on it, you can. I think it's the fact that they're taking a cut of that I think is problematic. Also, I don't know who's setting the prices because since it is set on points, I think they usually kind of standardize it. It's not just like, you're not just saying like a 150 here and then a 175 over there and then a 250. It's kind of like, okay, these are the 100s, these are the 1000s. So they are moderating the prices a bit. I think if it was just purely just a platform and, as a modder, you can put what you feel is fair. Similar to like Antoine was saying, where they put their Patreon links. I know some mods are set behind Patreons where you can only get the mod if you subscribe or whatever. I know that that's a thing in The Sims. I'm assuming it's the same thing in Starfield. Then, yeah, I mean, I'm 100% behind it. I mean, the person put in their work. If they want to set a fair price to that, yeah, that's 100%. But then I was thinking for a split second, I thought, there are server costs. So, if it was like they're taking like 1 cent out of every $10, okay, fine. But then Antoine reminded me, Bethesda's not independent anymore. They're owned by Microsoft. The lint in their pocket is worth more than the server cost is going to be. So, I mean, yeah, when you're owned by Microsoft, the argument of, but server costs kind of goes out the window. So, yeah, I think that it's plus, I mean, I think there's still some of the fallout from Fallout when they tried this, and there's still a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So, yeah, I mean, I do like the idea that there's an official platform for mods, so they're like, these are officially supported mods versus, you go on Nexus and you have to, put things in the right file folders and all that. I think having one big place where it's just kind of like, because on console, it was easy with Fallout 4, you could just go to the page, download the mods you wanted, and you knew 100% they were going to work, because they would only put them up on the creation page if they worked. So I think having a place for official mods is a good idea. I think paying for it, not a good idea. And even if it's financially a good idea, it's bad optics. So, yeah.
Let me just add one more thing, which I just thought when you mentioned that. I read that in the mode that you can pay for are some nice bits of story in the mode. It's not just some improvement on there. I mean, like you paid $70 game or $80, I can't remember. You are going to pay for DLC, another, I don't know, $30, $40. I don't think it's priced yet. And yet, despite paying more than $110 or $120, you still have to pay for mods to get the full story.
Wait, there's Starfield story in the mods? There's Bethesda story in the mods?
That's what I read.
That makes no sense.
That's what I read. I don't know if it's true or not. I really hope it's not. But not main mission or something, just some side mission, but which extend the story on some faction that you're gonna encounter in the new mod, in the new DLC. I'm just letting it float over here, just to you can put some little angry meme over there, like lightning and stuff, and what the hell are you doing? Is that what we're gonna do in game in 10 years?
Weird.
Yeah.
All right. My probable last story for this day, before we move on to the guys' final stories, is Chained Together. And if you're a shorts person like I am, you would have seen the video of Ninja on Instagram and on YouTube when he was playing Chained Together with his friends. And they jumped onto a location, and because the way this game works is that you are 4 people chained together trying to escape hell. And as Ninja jumps, they miss the jump, and they're all his friends shouting, "Tyler, it's all your fault," and they die, right? So if you're watching the video on stream, you would remember a game I think I might have talked about. I think it was I who talked about it. It could have been Adam as well, where some Korean place, they made a game where it was basically they combined random things from Unreal Engine or some other, or could be Unity as well. And the aim of this game was to go up high. And this is what somebody has kind of done with Chained Together, except they've made it more aesthetic and it's not just random. And there are multiple modes this time. Where it's not like the other game where like when you climbed all the way high and you're almost finished and you fell, you have to start all the way from the freaking bottom again. So Chained Together is basically, there's not much of a story, right? It is a cheap game, like $4.41 or like 91 Taiwan dollars. And it says, from the depths of hell, climb chained to your friends through diverse worlds, solo or co-op, try to reach the summit and discover what awaits you there. So yeah, it's if you watch the video, right, it's you jumping places, it's you climbing together, and everyone has to climb together. And there's sometimes where the chain actually does help you, where you can fall down and you hook on stuff. You're like, oh God, we could have died. And you continue from that place. This is just a fun streaming game where people, if you read the comments on Steam, it's where friendships are made or friendships are broken, right? Where people shout at each other like, oh, you should have done that. And I like the fact that this game, one of the things I was worried about is that, like, is there, you have to start all the way from the freaking bottom again? And the good answer is in 2 out of the 3 modes, no, you don't. So you can start from the highest place you just achieved, or like the equivalent of save points. So if you're an upcoming streamer or you're somebody who likes to stream with other people, this might be something for you to consider, because it is drawing in the audiences. People do love it. People do love the tension and the anxiety. But at the same time, if you're somebody like me who doesn't have a lot of patience, who easily get frustrated, and would not want to do this over and over and over again, and especially because you're relying on other people and a lag and other issues might sort of affect this, this might not be a game for you, but it's pretty fun to watch people fall, especially when it's not you falling and it's not you dying over and over again. It is entertaining. So if you are looking for something to stream or something to watch or funny YouTube shorts, just search for Chained Together and you'll find lots of stuff, lots of screams, lots of anger, lots of angst. And if you like videos like this or games like this, don't forget to check out the video over here.
Yeah, I saw one of
the. Have you guys seen any videos like this?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I saw one of the videos, and you know, at first I was like, okay, that's an interesting premise, but on the video they had a rail and they jumped, and it looked like they missed it at first, but then it looked like they missed it at first, but then they got hooked on it, so they're kind of like they're hanging on either side of it, and they slide down the rail because the chain between them. And I was like, oh, if it's doing like the chain itself interacts with the environment, that actually is a whole new level of interesting to me. So yeah, it looks really good.
So just in case you didn't lose all of your sanity on Alt F4, now it's Alt F4 but with 3 people chained to you. Good luck. It's gonna be on Twitch everywhere. That's for sure. I didn't use this game. Now I've seen this. I was like, yeah, everybody's gonna play it. That sounds excellent.
People are playing it. I don't know if it's going to have any more day in the sun than the last sort of game. Like, it'll probably be 2-3 weeks, I think by the end of this month, by the end of July, nobody will be playing this anymore unless they come up with some like weird and fantastic way to make this game exciting or different or enjoyable, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, now this is just going to be another. What was it? Going up or just up or something like that? Is that what
Yeah.
Just up, yeah, something. I forgot what was the game we talked about.
It's gonna be like
before,
that,
yeah.
or like Fall Guys, you know, where it's gonna have its time in the sun. It's gonna be flavor of the month, and then it's gonna disappear for the most part. There's still gonna be people playing, but it's gonna disappear. But I mean, by that point, they've made their money, and that's the point of games, right? You make your money, and then you move on to you make enough to move to the next one. So I foresee this being a very big success relative to the cost it took to make it.
How much money did the guy from Little Company made? And it's a crappy little game as well, huh?
What is Little Company?
If you don't know Little Company, oh my god, go check some streams. It's absolutely fantastic. I really love it. It's a small game where you are some kind of you can play with 4 people and you go on very little planet, ranking from C to S plus, and you go get bits and bobs and go back to your company, give it to some kind of monster, make money, and you have 3 days to make X amount of money if you don't want to die. And there's hundreds of mods onto it, and it's absolutely hilarious when you see some of the French streamers or YouTubers that I'm watching are playing this game. Honestly, I cry each time they're playing this. It's really, really that good.
Very nice. All right, gents, running off today's final stories. Adam, take us away.
All right, so this one's technically a long one, but I'll try to make it as short as possible. So my last story is that... Ooh, I hit the wrong button there. I am sorry for that. Dawn Trail patch 1.7 notes have been released. So if you're looking forward to Dawn Trail, which is coming out in just a few days, let me double check when that is. Is it July 2nd, I believe? So just, was it Yoshi P said, I'm going to give you a week to play Elden Ring, and then we're going to release our game. Or was it 2 weeks to play Elden Ring? But anyway, yeah, it's coming out on July 2nd. And yeah, it's pretty extensive. If you're watching the show, then I have a scroll going in the background where I just slowly scroll, or moderately scroll down, and it's like a 20-minute video of just scrolling. So there's a lot of information. Of course, we know that we're getting certain things, like we know that we're going to be getting new areas, quests, dungeons, trials, enemies, fish, hairstyles, housing, that sort of thing. All that's going to be new. The game will be down for maintenance starting on June 26th if you're on PlayStation or Xbox, and again on June 27th if you're on PC, and that maintenance should go through the 28th, so you won't be able to play for then. But going through all of this information, there are some interesting things that are worth noting. For one, there were some stealth quests in the original game that would be really annoying because you need to follow the character, but you don't need to follow him so closely. Those were not well implemented. Now there's going to be a little indicator on the person. There's going to be kind of a little ring around them, so you know exactly how close you can get. So that's going to make stealth sections much, much easier. The new jobs, the Viper and the Pictomancer. If you want to pick up Viper, you can go to Udal, Steps of Nald, which of course I feel like everything starts in Udal. Pictomancer, though, you can go to Old Gridania is where you're going to pick it up. They are going to be adding Faceware, which is a new slot added to your equipment. And it's purely aesthetic, and so that's going to be things like glasses, eye patches, possibly like face masks. Not quite sure, but possibly. But yeah, so this is just going to be a new. Before maybe certain gear had a set of glasses on them, particularly if you were like say scholar. Now glasses are going to be their own thing, so you can put them on and have them on with all your gear, or you can take them off and never have them. It's purely aesthetic, so whatever you want with that, which I think is really cool. They've added things previously, like some of the parasols, if you want to carry an umbrella around with you, though you can't do it all the time. They are going to be changing it so that if you want to recreate your character, before you could use a Fantasia, and then you could change the appearance of your character. You could change their race, change their gender, change anything you wanted to. You could basically just create a whole new character. Now, when you do that, for 60 minutes after using the Fantasia, you can go back and re-edit as much as you want. So if you do something and then, 30 minutes later, you're like, you know what, I kind of hate it. You can fix that now, which is great, because before You couldn't do that. So they also added a mute list, which has been something people have been asking for. I was about to say demanding. I don't know if demanding is the right word, but they've been asking for a long time. So that way, people can't just spam you with, whispers or tells or shouts or whatever. But now, so they are adding a mute list. So the messages cannot be seen, but if they are a member of your party or your alliance, you will get a little notification saying that they did say something when they speak during duties. So if you are like in a dungeon and they say something, it'll say like somebody said something, and you can click on it and you can see what they said if you want, or you could just ignore it. That's up to you, but you don't have to see what they're saying. So if somebody's being abusive, you could just mute them. If it's somebody who's maybe a little bit, you don't like their language, but in a dungeon you feel like, you know what, maybe I should, this might be relevant, then you can do that there. You can elect to temporarily see what they are saying. And then also, if you're on PC, they have added DualSense and DualSense Edge support to the PC, and they now have Bluetooth support as well. So if you want to be using a DualSense or a DualSense Edge on PC, you can do that. So those are some of the big highlights. But definitely go and check out the whole thing. There is a lot in there. Most of it's, the kind of thing that we would expect. We've added new characters to the game. We've added new quests to the game, obviously. But there are some other things in there that are interesting. So definitely go and check it out. And I kept it short for you.
Great. That was pretty short. I have to say, pretty impressive. And you were streaming Dawn Trail, or like prepping for Dawn Trail yesterday?
Prepping for Dawn Trail. I am. So there's, I'm on patch 6.4, and it says I'm 55% way through that. So, and then there's 6.5, and then it's Dawn Trail. So I am a patch behind, and so I'm trying to catch up in time for Dawn Trail. Seeing as I still have 6 days, it is possible that I could catch up. So we'll see. I was catching up earlier, and then I got kind of stuck because I got to a dungeon, and because I hadn't been playing for a fair amount of time, I didn't have a lot of tomestones, and this dungeon was above my eye level, so it was above the level of my gear, so I needed new gear. So the only way to get new gear was to go back through and do dungeons and collect tomestones until I could get my eye level up, or do those dungeons and hope that gear was dropping for me at an appropriate level. So I kind of got stuck on that because I was like, I'm leveled up, but I can't, my gear isn't leveled up. So now I'm going to have to grind to get my gear leveled up. So I wasn't super motivated to do that at the time, but with Dawn Trail really close, I'm kind of like, okay, I got to do this. So I got my gear up, and now I'm making progress again. So hopefully I'm not going to hit another snag and be like, crap, all my gear is terrible again. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm trying to catch up.
Antoine, round us off for today.
All right. Do you want to do my story or your story? If we only have
your story for sure. My last story isn't a really hot game.
Mine is not so hot anymore, to be honest, because talking about Pal World, because my son decided to replay it about a month ago, and now every day say, "Hey, Dad, can we spend an hour on Pal World?" which is fun, to be honest, because I really enjoy the house building and base building, and there's plenty of stuff which they need to work on, to be honest. Some clip or the base, you can't put two base together to make a mega base, or anyway, that's just some stuff. But yeah, the studio who made Pal World, remind me, Pocket Pair, yeah, was saying they are not too worried about the fact that more than 90% of the original peak concurrent users is now gone, because it was extremely popular a few months ago. Now it's down for lack of content, really, because it's still fun. And he's saying it's fine, no worries. Our game is still in early access for at least until 2025, so we have time. All we need to do is keep working, correct the bugs, add new content, and everything will be fine. And on that note, you might have seen on the Summerfest the latest videos I made about the Sakurajima update, which is going to bring a lot of new content. So to sum it up, the classic, it's going to be a new pulse, going to be a new location, a new island. So they're going to add a PvP arena, which was lacking, actually, for only PvE content. Now they're going to have a PvP arena, which is very nice. I'm not exactly sure how great it is because I'm a PC user, but they are adding and they're putting a lot of emphasis on it. Xbox servers are putting dedicated Xbox servers, which I suppose is great, but I'm not sure exactly how. But it has been apparently a big community request, and Pocket Pair listened to the community. For once, someone is listening to the community, yay! And added this, so that's grand. So yeah, this is an update which is gonna come out on June 27th. So for me in 2 days, for you guys on the other side of the world, it's tomorrow. So I think it's gonna be quite fun. They're adding, so among the pals that they're adding subspecies. So exactly the same pal, but different color scheme, more or less, right? They're adding subspecies, new pals, new gear. It's overall, I know that this game worked for 3 or 4 months, but even I surprised myself as I'm playing with my son to think, hey, actually, you need to grind a lot in this game if you want to succeed all the missions, because mainly the missions are going to go to X Pal Tower and kill the boss, which is way too over level. So there is a lot to do, even though I think for me the most fun part really is the base building, like in Valheim, right? So as you can see here, there's a little mimic, a little knight, some ghost type. It's gonna be fun. To be honest, it's gonna be fun. So with this release, I'm gonna play Palworld for another month or so with my son. It's gonna be fun, and it is really something really interesting that I find in the game. I'll be sure to tell you. Say, hey, remember Palworld a few months ago? Hey, give it another try. It's good. It's still completely bugged. Plenty of stuff of improvement to do, but it's still fun. Short and sweet.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. It was wonderful to be back. I think a break is always good for everybody. And stay tuned for more stories. Check out our Instagram. Check out our Facebook. And then we will see you guys same time next week for more stories and maybe some more unboxings. Adam should be getting his Stream Deck sometime this week. And then we'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.